Hey guys, we're here at Paul's garage again. He got some work done on the car, so we're gonna talk to him about that. He went pick up some parts. We're gonna talk about those too. So buckle up, put it in gear, get the show on the road. Here's the man himself. Show us what you got. You got a spoiler?
Yeah, so yesterday I went visit my old 1977, my original 1977 280Z that I had from 1997 or 6 till 2012. The one that I told you about in the previous episode that got flooded, well, I went and meet with the new owner who saved it after the flood. I ended up getting this nice spoiler from him. That's gonna get painted body color and bonded to the rear deck. Test fitted it yesterday. It looks really good. It's even got a flat spot here on the back to put the badge, the Datsun badge. So that's gonna look really cool. Painted body color and all bonded in.
And that would have been an aftermarket in 70 whatever.
Correct. It would be a period correct. This is actually a copy of the 432, I believe, a spoiler with these little ribs in it. So it's not the BRE spoiler that you normally see. It's a little bit different. I like it. I tried it on. It looked really good. It did have a little bit of water in it, but I looked at the gears and I guess the 90 weight had coated them enough where it didn't harm anything. But this is the 5-speed, the original 5-speed out of my old car. So I'll now have the gearbox from my original car because he's going with a T5 or something transmission. He's gonna mod the car a lot more than I did. I will check it out a little closer. I need to, as you can see, wash it. That'll be later today. It'll take a couple of cans of degreaser. But
and I see the other drive shaft. So the auto and the 5 speeds don't use the same drive shaft.
They do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, and this had a 4-speed, not an auto.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know, the drive shafts are the same length on automatic or 4 or 5-speed. But yeah, this is the drive shaft from this car originally. I have 3 4-speeds if anyone needs one. I don't know what to do with them.
Show us what you did to the engine while we were gone.
I did pull the valve cover just to see what was under here, and it looks really good. Everything's nice and shiny. So this engine had, I may have mentioned this in the previous video, like 60,000 miles on it. So basically what I'm going to do is a valve cover gasket, water pump, tune up, new fuel pump, that kind of thing. And of course, clean it and paint it. We're going to see what it does. Yesterday, while the car was still in the shop, in the garage, I got all of this straightened out. Now, these panels fit nicely between the clips and the top here. There's no more strain in this area. Before you had to like push it up and it was bending this out of place. So all that's good. Also did some grinding on all these welds. That's all now finished up and can be blended in to the sides. Today what's going to happen is some grinding, getting rid of the rest of this thin Bondo here. I'm going to basically grind it up until it's completely down to bare metal all the way. And then I'll be able to use a direct to metal filler primer on it, which I can also Bondo over because you don't want to Bondo over bare metal. So I'm going to basically seal everything and then come back, sand that, Bondo it, then I can sand that, and then I'll be able to sand the whole car at that point and prime the entire thing with a high build primer that we can block sand down. But today, goal is get rid of this Bondo, which is probably not even necessary anymore because it was more than likely put on there to blend into that old roll pan that was here. So let's get to grinding. You can see I'm already down to metal now. So there's not a whole bunch of Bondo up this way. It was mostly just to blend in all this. As suspected, there wasn't much left.
So it looks like the hit that they took is more probably like right here, huh? Rather than than out here.
It was definitely a back hit. It was in this corner area because it smashed the frame rail right here.
Okay.
But also in doing that, it pushed the bumper overall. So that side was actually pushed forward a little bit too, but the body was okay above it.
Right.
Yeah, next step is going to be to smooth this out some more. I'm going to get a DA, then I'm going to treat this so it, treat the rusted areas. Get in the pores with some OSFO, and then I will prime it.
Now that you've taken it apart more and did a little bit more work, do you see any indication that it's been apart and back together and apart, and any shoddy work anywhere?
What probably happened with the life of this car was it was used till it had the original paint on it, and I'm assuming that when this crash happened was when it got repainted. I don't know any history on it though. I know it was in California and may or may not have been rusty when it was there, but when it got back here, it did get flooded, and I think that's when most of the rust damage happened.
Yeah.
But no, I think up until the crash, it was probably an all original complete car.
And the entire car has been painted.
Yeah, they did a complete paint job on it when this happened, from what I can tell. But like all the interior stuff before the guy did the floors was all original silver.
And that's what I was going to ask. This is the original color.
Close. The original color silver is this more. Here's some good one. Some more. It's more of a subdued, like gray, a metallic gray.
Yeah.
Not quite as bright as this. This is more like a Mercedes silver or something like that.
Right.
A lot more bright metallic, where the original was a little bit more of a finer metallic and more of a darker gray. I sanded it with like a 36 grit to cut that Bondo out of the way quickly. This is an 80 grit, kind of giving it's smoothing it out some, but I'm going to be spraying this with a high build primer, so really doesn't matter. Not only am I high build primering it, the grooves are getting Bondoed over, so it'll have a real nice bite.
I'm going to ask you a question that you may not even know the answer, but I want to know. I see in this new roll pan, there's an indent, but it's off-centered. It's more to the driver's side. What is that indent for?
The original, the panel's still there. The panel that's under there has a dip in it. All I can think is, especially the off-center part, would maybe be because the gas tank is here, and it comes almost all the way out to the edge here. I really don't know, except that that's the way it's welded. It had to be for clearance of something. It's right in the back of the spare tire well, which wouldn't really make sense that it would be closer. Possibly strength, to give it some rigidity.
Yeah.
That could be like a corrugation.
And that's all covered by the bumper anyway.
Mostly the bumper sits about right here.
Yeah.
And about that far away.
Explain to people that may not know, this is a brand new piece and it's nice and smooth, and here you are scratching it up. Why would you have to do that?
To get the paint to bite. This is an epoxy primer that they come shipped with, and so just gonna sand it down with the DA 80 grit and prime it with the filler primer, and the whole car is gonna get primed with that, and then I'll come back and block that down with like 400 grit wet, and that should smooth out any.
And what the filler primer does, exactly what it's named. It fills in the little imperfections, and when you sand it smooth, those indents stay filled with the filler primer, right?
Right. You'll spray it gray. I'll spray it gray and then come back with a thin mist coat of black. You basically sand the fill primer until there's no more black with a block, a foam block. Once there's no more black, you should have a smooth surface.
Yep. And if he just painted right over that smooth metal or this nice shiny paint, it just wouldn't stick.
It would flake off when you pressure washed it.
I've had a few cars like that.
Yeah, Factobate does that.
We were talking about body fillers and sanding, and you see this body line in here. It continues through the door and the fender and gets more definite. Tell us how you can lose those while you're doing this, Paul.
Well, the thin layer of polyester body filler that's going to be in the back right here is going to basically have almost none. So what I'll do again with that block is, as you sand, normally you sand around a curve like this in this sort of a pattern. But if you have a body line you want to define, you can just take the block and slowly shape right across it using the same, kind of like you're sharpening a knife or something. You kind of just stay flat on it until it pops. And then you want to just pull away from it as you final sand when you're doing the block out.
I think that's the biggest amateur mistake, is people losing body lines just because they're just sanding right over it and pretty much flattening it. Well, the back end is sprayed. It's got the filler primer on it. Paul's going to let that cure. And what are we going to do next?
So next step would be, once that dries, to just scuff it down real good. Then I'll do the body work. The filler work shouldn't be real thick, just a very thin skim coat of polyester body filler. And then come back and block that down, get that shaped perfectly. Then the exciting part, it's going to be time to sand the entire body, clean everything to perfection, and fill prime the entire car.
Yeah.
So things are going to start rolling really fast once this body work is complete.
Yeah, and we're going to end this one right here. You're going to see that whole body in primer on the next episode.
We hope.